All right, welcome back to Talking Transitions. Today's guest is ex-Premier League footballer, now business owner, Jon Worsnop. John's done what all of us as young kids dreamt of and made the Premier League debut. So talk us through that, John. Albeit it was only one, but you've done it, mate. You played in the Premier League.
I have, yeah. It's quite a funny story, actually. I think it was all 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's Coventry away at the Rico. I think it was the Rico.
Yeah.
The Rico. I'd been travelling with the first team for about 2 years, and we'd already been relegated. And then Jim Jeffries was the manager. And I was just sat there, literally thinking, like you do while we're going down, it's going to be sad. It's going to be crap on the bus on the way back. And then the gaffer was like, no, it wasn't. It was actually Neville Southall was the goalkeeper coach, and he was like, "Go get warm." I looked at him and I think,
What for?
5 minutes left. You know what I mean? He went, "No, just go get warm." So I just started running up and down the touchline, thinking, "What's going on here?" But what I didn't know, he was getting in the gaffer's head, saying, "Look, get him on. Get him a Premier League appearance. You might be able to move him on and sell him because then he's got Premier League experience." So 2 minutes later, he's calling me in and the board's gone up. And literally, I go on. I wasn't even nervous because the game was done. It was 1-1. Took a goal kick and the whistle went.
So at least you kicked the ball as well.
Yeah.
And that was for Bradford City.
Yeah.
I can't lie. My debut in League Two, I don't think I kicked the ball when I come on.
No.
It was against Northampton away, and I was on for a similar amount of time. Don't think I kicked the ball.
Yeah.
But in fairness, I was buzzing.
Yeah.
I was on the coach, all the lads like gutted that had been relegated, and I'm sat there beaming. Thinking,
Yeah.
this is
Well,
class.
now looking back, obviously now your career's over. Like, do you look back and think like it's what you've dreamt of playing in the Premier League? Do you feel proud of it or?
No, I feel like I've wasted.
How old was you then?
17.
17. So you're 17, made your debut in the Prem.
Yeah.
Southall must have looked at you and thought, aside
Well,
from
in
taking...
fairness, I was at England under 18s at the time. I was like, I'd come through. We had Paul Jewell originally, liked me, loved me. Chris Hutchins liked me, loved me. And Jim Jeffries came and liked me. It was just one of those. You didn't really appreciate.
Yeah.
It was just, it's a bit awful saying this, but you just took it for granted.
Absolutely.
It was just a normal thing,
Yeah.
that kind of happened because it's what you've been building up for. But I suppose then, early 2000s, you just had a bit of arrogance about you. It's horrible saying that, but I was horrible. I was just arrogant because I just expected it to kind of happen. I always thought it would.
Is that because it was your hometown and those types of things, or was it just something you'd been built up from being young?
Maybe. I don't know. Obviously, being a goalkeeper is a different kind of animal altogether. I think you have to have a bit of arrogance and, believe that you're going to do.
And be a bit weird as well.
Be a bit weird and crazy.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, people always say about goalies are weird. What do you think about that?
It's mad because when people say, "Oh, what do you think of him?" I go, "Is he weird?" And they go, "Yeah, a little bit." I go, "He'll be all right."
Yeah.
You've got to be a bit of...
I've actually met probably 2 goalies in my career who have actually been pretty normal. Apart from that, yeah, you're right. Oh,
Who are the 2?
Not naming them because the club might now hoping that I'm going to say one of them, but probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, one of them actually is the young lad at Doncaster at the minute, and Lawsy, to be fair. They're both normal lads. But previously, it was all like, everyone always thinks goalies a bit weird. Like.
Nuts.
So after your major debut, was that late into the season?
Last game of the season.
Yeah,
got relegated.
Got relegated.
Champ, yeah.
Where did you go from there?
I'm still there. I had another 2 years on my contract. And then again, just travelled. I was always travelling with the first team. I was always on the bench. So, and then the club went into administration. I don't know if you remember this. So we had Benito Carbone, Dan Petrescu, Stan Collymore, David Weatherall, Gunnar Haller. We had some big players. And I remember back then, so this is 2000, 2001, you've got Benito Carbone, 40 grand a week. That wasn't heard of back then. Do you know what I mean? So you had lads at Leeds, United going, what's going on here? Where are they getting all the money from? So it was no wonder the club went into administration. And then, obviously, they built a big 2 new stands behind the goal. You've been to Bradford, you've seen the cop behind one of the goals and then the new one on Midland Road. They built 2 new stands thinking that they're going to be able to be sustainable, but there wasn't. So one day we've gone in halfway through the season after we got relegated, and I think the ITV money had just stopped. So remember, you used to get a balloon payment and the ITV payment, that had kind of stopped. So what had happened is the gaffer got us in one day and he was like, "Lads, we're going into administration. We can't honour your contract. if you can get a club, go get one. If not, we'd love you to stay, and we'll defer your payments.
Yeah.
So obviously at the time, I just literally just bought a house, just bought a car, and I've gone on. I wasn't earning top money like some of the lads there, and I was just went into meltdown and panic, and I was like, what am I going to do? So I saw out the season there, and then when the season had finished, I thought, oh, I might get some of this payment here, and nothing came. It was literally with administrators saying, no, you pretty much last on the payrolls get paid. It'd be banks first and any creditors.
Yeah.
So I was like, what am I going to do? And then I got a couple of, you're frantically ringing around. I didn't have an agent back then. I just were ringing around people that I knew in the game. Oh, anything going there? But it was at the time when the foreigners were just basically coming through. And it wasn't like now, we've got FFP and you've got academies. It was literally, you could sign who you wanted to sign. So they didn't really care about young academy lads or young professionals. But I remember going to Stockport and training, and Carlton Palmer was the manager, and he offered me a deal. It was awful.
Yeah.
And then I got a call from a friend who was at Chester. He said, "Oh, Chester are looking for a keeper. Go down there." And then I met Mark Wright, who was a manager then, and they were offering 3 times what I was earning at Bradford. So I just snatched your hand off, and a signing on fee.
Yeah.
And the chairman at the time was Stephen Bourne. If you remember,
I think everybody in football.
I remember this day. I'd gone in there and I'd agreed a weekly wage, and I said, "Oh, well, I want a signing on fee as well." I thought I'll just push my luck. And he went, "Well, no problem." So we agreed a sign on fee, and I remember it wasn't a lot, but it was 10 grand.
Yeah.
So did you negotiate that yourself?
Yeah,
because we spoke about this last week, didn't we, about negotiating your own contract and not having an agent.
Did it all, went in, did it all myself.
It's not just a random number.
Well, I was about 20, 21.
That's good, isn't it? 20 years old doing that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not.
But obviously, I didn't lie, but he kind of said, what were you earning at Bradford? So I kind of just put a couple of quid on.
Add the bevy on it.
Yeah. Just added. And they was just fine with it. And then I remember saying, I want a 10 grand, I want a sign-on fee. So we'll give you 10 grand. And I was thinking in my head, oh my God, this is amazing. Because by then I kind of fallen behind a credit card, and I thought, oh, what am I going to do? I'm not
and you bought your first house?
Yeah, I bought my house, I got a mortgage. I was living on a credit card. And then 2 days later, Mark Wright was like, "Go up to the chairman, he wants you." So I went upstairs and he gave me a brown envelope, literally with 10 grand in cash. And at the time, I didn't think anything of it, but I skipped out of there, and I walked from Sealand Road in Chester. I walked into Chester City Centre, and I put it in the bank. I went, "Oh, there you go." She's like, "Where's this money come from?" So that's my signing on fee. Yeah. Absolutely buzzing. Yeah. But then it opened all different kinds of worms, and the bank was like, "Well, you don't just come in with 10 grand
was that
cash."
Just for you, or was that for the club in general? Did they open up a can of worms for the club in general? Did they start getting investigated after that? Or
no idea.
Oh, no idea.
Did you grass on them?
No idea.
Did you grass on them? Did you tell them where they come from?
Yeah, I think I did. I was naive.
Would have been naive, wouldn't it?
I was 20 years old. I hadn't done anything wrong. It was just you sign on fee.
Yeah, you just thought that might have been normal. I didn't
know how to pay tax.
Yeah.
You just put it in the bank and off I went. So and that's how it kind of ended at Bradford. But I'm disappointed. Now I look back, I'm disappointed in myself, really, because I didn't come from a financial background. My parents wasn't wealthy. I grew up in a two down in the middle of Bradford. It was awful where I grew up, and it was literally, fight for your life kind of thing to survive. So in hindsight, looking back, and if it was my son now, I'd be saying, "Look, don't worry about it, son. I'll support you. Just stay as high as you can for us for as long as you can." Because in fairness, just touching on what I said at the start, my arrogance kind of got stripped away from me, because I actually thought I was a lot better.
Yeah.
Or I still believe now I got robbed, or I robbed myself, really, because once you lads know, once you drop down the divisions, unless you're somewhat special, you're not getting back
What
up.
league was Chester when you went there?
Conference.
So you went from obviously the Premier League Championship and then to the conference.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like what you said, it was half bad luck for you as well, because if Bradford didn't go into administration, you wouldn't have had to make that decision to go there.
So like I said, I had 2 years left.
Yeah.
If Bradford had not gone into administration, I'd been there, probably got a chance, played a couple more games in the champ, or whatever it be. Maybe got loaned out to a League 1 or League 2 club, built your CV up. And then I think once you've got 30, 40 games under your belt, I think you're seasoned then. And then I think people will always take a chance on you. Yeah. You've played 3 minutes in the Premier League.
It's very difficult as a goalie as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't go elsewhere on the pitch if you're not.
And that's another point as well as a goalkeeper. You know, you've got your number one, and then number two. You know, not a lot of clubs, especially back then, had a number three.
Yeah.
It was quite rare. It was normally the young lad from the youth team. So it was just difficult. And in fairness, looking back as well, I was dead skinny and scrawny. You know, I probably didn't fill many managers full of confidence, because now if you look at the goalkeepers now, they're all 6'4", they're all athletic, they're all built, they all can play. I could play, but 20 years ago, in 2000,
No one was playing back then.
they weren't playing. They just wanted you to kick it as far as you could.
Yeah.
In some respects, that's probably the worst position to be, is number 2 goalkeeper.
You don't get a chance, do you?
Yeah, because you needed to
It's
be
not like
on the
getting
bench.
thrown on. You're thrown on for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be a thing now in this day, like number 3s, number 4s, like players who could play in, like, say, League One or something, go into the Premier League and just being like a number 3 or 4 just to help out with the keepers.
Scott Carson.
I was going to bring it up. Like, could that be like one of the best jobs? Because it looks like him, for example, probably
Shane
not.
Given.
Yeah, they're not playing. They got no pressure on them. They're at an unbelievable club.
Lonergan. Lonergan for Liverpool, yeah.
Like, well, as a goalkeeper, what are your thoughts on that?
Obviously, you want to play.
Yeah.
I want to play. I was a sulker.
Yeah.
So when I was playing and I was dropped for whatever reason, so I've had a bad couple of games, I sulked.
Mate, I'm the same.
You know, I was the worst. Then I was the worst critic as well. I sat, you know, social media back then wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I remember my Chester days, because I've been to Chester 3 times now. I remember going back. Social media was awful.
Yeah.
But I used to believe it. I used to read it and think, maybe I should hang up my gloves. Maybe I'm crap. Do you know what I mean? Just get inside your head.
Yeah, probably most footballers would say that they don't read what people say.
I always do it, man.
I would beg to differ. I reckon about 90% read what
I always get
tabloids are
hammered.
saying. Or
I get hammered all the time. I get hammered when I'm not even playing. Just hammer me.
Because my surname's Worsnop. It's not like there's a lot of Worsnops out there. So you could just go on Twitter, type in Worsnop, latest news.
Yeah.
And literally, like, oh my God. See everyone's feeds that, you know. But then the worst thing is, they used to tag you.
Yeah.
They used to slag you off and tag you,
So
slagging you off. And
You can't not see it.
yeah. That was even worse.
Yeah. So you're playing for Chester at this point,
Yeah.
and they're in the conference.
Yeah.
And are they full time?
Full time, yeah. We had a great setup, great team, like Darryl Clare, Michael Twiss, ex-United, if you remember him. Wayne Brown was the number 1 keeper at the time. Wayne Hatswell, Phil Bolland, Paul Carden.
Wayne Brown,
Jimmy
Baldy
Kelly.
Wayne Brown.
Yeah.
He came to Bury. When I was at Bury, he was there as well.
Yeah, he was.
He was nuts as well. Like,
Yeah, he's well.
Cards.
I've got a really funny story about
Go on, tell us.
Brownie. So obviously we were quite close, but Brownie, he was. I don't know about now, but he was a bit of a boy about town. I always remember this story. This time we was training, and we used to train not far from the ground. But the car park was, as soon as you come in these gates, car park was there, and there was like 3 pitches lined up. We always used to train on the far pitch because it was the best pitch. And the keepers used to do their little bit at the side. So we're doing our little bit at the side. And then we were going into like small-sided games, 3 teams scoring, you're off. And I'm playing, I've got my back to it, and then Brownie just starts running, but he runs past me. And he's running to the car park, and I turn around and think, what's going on? But in the car park, his wife, has got all these bin liners, and she's throwing them on the car park, right? And she's put petrol on them, and she set it alight, and got in the car and drove off, right? So then Brownie starts running back to me. And he's running back, but all his keys are by the goalpost. He picks his keys up and runs back past me to the car and drives off. And everyone's like,
What's just gone on there?
God, this is bad. But deep down, I knew what had been going on for a couple of weeks. But he was a boy. But they came in, and I remember he came in the next day, and we were all like gagging for this story to say how proud he was.
What happened there?
He just played it down like it was normal. I was like, come on. And he's like, no, she's fine. Sorted it. I'm like, okay. And
Might still be together now.
Yeah, but I'd love to, not a chance. But I'd love,
Maybe not then.
I'd love to know what really went on. But his face was just like class. But Brownie is nuts. I think he's Oxford.
Kid goalie coach, is he?
Yeah, I think he's doing bits for England, ladies as well.
Oh, but yeah, I hope he doesn't get any bin bags there then.
Imagine. What? So Chester, you're playing, or you're under number 2 under Wayne Brown?
Bit of both, really.
Bit of both.
Like Brownie'd been there a long time. And he started the season, but did well. I'd come in and played a couple, done well as well. But it was one of them where Brownie was a bigger sulker than me. He was straight into Mark Wright's office, and he was a big sulker. So maybe I learned a bit.
What were your thoughts and your mentality at that point then when you dropped down to the conference? Are you still thinking, I need to get back up to the Championship and Premier League? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, God, I need to play because I need to put myself in the shop window just so I can maybe get picked up. And then I remember I must have played 16 games in that season. It wasn't a lot. I got promoted into League Two, and I had an option. So stayed another year, but didn't really play at all. Yeah. And then I got told that I wasn't getting a new contract, so you start looking. And then I got this crazy call from a Sheffield United scout called Kevin Randall. I always remember his name. I never really met the guy. Can you play in a reserve game for Sheffield United? And I was like, yeah. Who's it against? Bradford City. Perfect. So I'm like, yeah, where's it at? And it was at Chesterfield's old ground, Saltergate. I think it's called. They had Leeds going up the side of the stand and all that. So I ended up playing, and I had a worldie. Beat him 2-0. And then Walnut was in charge, and he's like, oh, can you play next week? And I went, yeah. Who is it? So I'm not training at this time. So can you just turn up and play? And I think it was like Leeds. It was someone decent, did well again. And then I remember being in the shower after the game, and he's like, John, have you got a minute? So comes running out, I've got a towel wrapped around me. He's like, oh, we'd like to offer you a contract. Can you come training? So I'm like, yeah. So I said, well, what kind of, how long? And he went, well, just rolling. And the money was crap. I had nothing. Yeah. So I was like, right, okay. But it turned out I was just basically a training keeper. So I went there. I was there for about 9 months. I loved it. Because I thought, oh, I'm on the way back up.
But again, you didn't have that kind of agent or figure to say, in fact, this is not what you think it is. It is you're a goalie coach. I mean, a goalie.
Or I didn't have an agent just to tout me about, really, or the contacts, just to go, I've got a lad, why do you get him in training?
And you need that when you're out of contact or like you're struggling a bit. I think that's when you definitely need an agent more than ever.
Yeah.
When you're playing well, mate, everyone's looking at you and like this team's going to be after you because they're seeing you all the time. But when you're not, that is definitely when you need an agent, a good 100%. Agent who will work for you. And it is important, especially for like young lads now who probably aren't playing as much. And even harder for a goalkeeper that isn't playing. Like
it's so even harder. You're not getting minutes.
No.
You just try to put yourself in the shop window at training.
Yeah.
And it sounds mad this because you kind of want the other keeper to do well, but secretly you want him to have a bit of a beast as well.
They call it the goalkeeper union, don't they? But like you said, everyone wants to play, but then
I want the team to win, and I want him to do well, but.
Not too well
because I want
to play.
I want an opportunity. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here all season.
Yeah.
So and there's not a lot I can do. Even if I'm having worldies in training and they're winning and he's doing well, your manager's not going to change your keeper.
Yeah.
So it's a tough gig.
Especially if it's like someone like Arsenal at the minute where they've got like 2 number ones, probably can't compare who's better at the minute. Them two, how can you have a goalkeeper union? Because like at most clubs, you probably have a number 1 and a 2 where the one's expected to play, the 2's there for backup to push the number 1, but then if anything happens to number 1, the number 2 is ready to go and step in. Where at a club where they got them 2 number 1s, that must be a bit toxic. Like, look from the outside, it could be a bit toxic.
It probably is. In fairness, on that top Raya and Ramsdale, I like Raya.
Yeah,
I kind of know where he's coming from. I liked him when he was at Southport.
Yeah, he was at Southport on loan, weren't he?
I remember.
In the conference.
God, it was an FA Cup game that it was just unbelievable. Yeah. And they were raving about him there. Had he come on loan from Blackburn?
Blackburn, yeah.
And then he started playing at Blackburn, and then I've kind of watched him, and I've always liked him. So when Arsenal signed him or took him on loan, I thought I know what Arteta's doing here, really, and it's just unlucky for Ramsdale. But we'll go back to playing with your feet again. It's so important now because you become this 11th man, and if you look how the Premier League's evolved anyway, it starts there now.
Yeah.
The centre half's taking the goal kick and passing it to the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And then the goalkeeper's distributing it out and either finding a right back or a left back who's playing into midfield.
Even in League 2 now, I'm playing League 2, and that's like seems to be what's happening now in League 2 as well. there's loads of teams trying to play off from the back, and including the goalkeeper has to be good with his feet.
Yeah,
You guys,
Yeah.
your manager was good though, wasn't he? As a player.
Yeah, I'm Grant McCann, our manager at the minute. He was a good footballer, technically a great footballer. So he want to play out from the back as well. So he'll want our goalkeepers to be good.
because again, being a goal, it's boring.
Yeah.
You know, you get the managers who literally, once you put it down, kick it as far as you can, and you're thinking, my leg's dropping
Hip
off.
flexes.
Yeah, my thigh's dropping off here. Do you know what I mean? And that's how they used to judge a goalkeeper. How far can they kick it? And you used to think, oh my God, but they used to think playing percentage football, Nicky Law was one of them.
Yeah, well, he's nearly got promoted that year. Well, I say years, but obviously I was included in that.
Yeah,
but nearly got promoted that year.
But it's different. Obviously, I prefer the way it is now because that suits my style of football. Because I like to play and I like to be involved.
Nicky didn't like you passing though, did he?
No, he didn't. I remember he used to get a ball.
He didn't like you passing.
Yeah, he did. He used to ask me to do a donkey kick. And I went,
What's a donkey kick?
What's a donkey kick? He went, you get it and you kick it as high and as far as you can. Like this, and he demonstrated. I couldn't stop laughing.
Is this the manager at the time?
That was to that. What's the striker's name again that we mentioned before?
John Akinde.
John
Akinde and Paul Clayton. So we had Paul Clayton, who literally was like a salmon. He could just win headers constantly. And we had John Akinde, who should have been in the Olympics.
Paul Clayton definitely got at least 15 broken noses on his CV that he's give out. Like
he's awful.
He's definitely given.
He was awful, but he's brilliant at it.
Yeah,
he was absolutely brilliant at it. Yeah.
So you know when you was at Sheffield. And obviously you said it weren't great, the contract weren't great. It was like a bit of a playing contract. Was you kind of in a situation where you was struggling financially, or was you still keeping your head above water?
No, massively.
Yeah.
Do you know, it wasn't until later in football when I started becoming more comfortably, but it was literally paycheck to paycheck, monthly wage to monthly wage. Yeah. And it's got to the point that sometimes I'm thinking, I don't have enough petrol. What am I going to, I haven't got a petrol to get to training. And then, because you're so proud, like, lad, can you pick us up? Do you know, the car's not, you think of an excuse.
Yeah.
And it sounds mad, but I can guarantee it still happens today because
100%,
men, we're so proud and we don't want to show that we are struggling.
Yeah.
So we'll come up with an excuse. And that's exactly what I used to do. I used to be like, God, what can I say here? Because I actually can't afford to get there. Or we'll go get a Costa or a Starbucks, and I'll be thinking, I'll stay at the back here because I can't get grounded.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't like coffee. I don't want one.
yeah.
A lot of water.
Yeah. I'll just have a water. Just have a tap water, lads.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was tough, but then it was hard because you've got lads there, they're earning top money. So not only was I not earning a lot of money, the lads would want to do stuff, and money wasn't really an object for some of them. So trying to keep up, it was difficult.
Yeah, and that's hard as well as like a young lad coming through trying to keep up with the older lads and that. It's mentally tough, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is, but I think some of that is part and parcel of learning as well. So I think it's building a bit of character because it's good to kind of have that struggle. Obviously, looking back now, you know, I'm looking at these lads, these young lads who are at City and United, and thinking, how these lads, you know, 7, 8, 10 grand a week and not even kicked a ball in men's football. They're playing in under-23s football, which I don't agree with. I think it's, you know, I've been to watch games, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, guys, you haven't got a chance. Technically, you're brilliant, but you're going to get found out.
When they go on loan to the lower leagues, they're going to get found out.
Massively. But they're earning big money, so they don't really have that struggle anymore. But I think they're not having that learning curve. And I think you need that learning curve. Like, I remember being a YTS. We used to have jobs. You don't give them any jobs anymore. Like, literally, we used to have to clean boots.
Are you not allowed to do it anymore?
Yeah. Scrub the toilets.
Well, no, you can. No, it's like you're allowed to still do like certain things. So we have big boys and all that now, but like it just changed completely.
Yeah,
like,
we was cleaning fucking toilets and everything.
Yeah, like I remember every Friday because obviously when you're a first year YT, the second years we used to get polished every Friday. Yeah. So we used to lock us in the boot room and polish you. It's probably bullying, really. If you think about it.
No, it was. Absolutely, it was. But
at the time, it was like it was just part and parcel. Yeah. It was like, fucking hell, not again.
And it's like it's building you up for like becoming part of the team and all that as well, isn't it? It's like obviously some of it can get classed as bullying. I was never part of like any bullying or anything like that. And like what we used to do isn't allowed now, but it was like character building as well, and it was good. And like I half miss it all now.
Well, I that was probably the best days of my life, and I think that in the youth team with some of the lads and some of the characters, you were just like every day. That is the best thing you can ever do in life.
Yeah,
not playing in the Premier League, just having that 3 years with your mates, trying to make it.
Yeah.
You know, that was sensational.
After that, then, mate, did you go to the Bradford Park, haven't you?
So after Sheffield United, yeah, no, Droylsden actually.
Droylsden,
we were in the Conference North. Dave Pace, obviously, I'd had loads of money, and again, I'm kicking myself because I've just made the same mistake I've done again. But because I don't have the money, it's just all about
you just chasing the money at this point.
I'm just chasing the money. Obviously, my advice for anyone now is don't chase the money, chase the career. But I was in a situation where, again, I've got a house, I've got a girlfriend. You know, it was a struggle. It was real. You know, so went there, played Conference North, enjoyed it actually enjoyed it. But then that's the point where I realised I'm gonna have to get a job.
Yep,
I've got to get a job here because I can actually have a decent life, earning good money playing part-time football. If I can get a job to supplement this, I'm earning good money.
Yeah,
so I'm earning, I don't know, £1,000 a week. And back then, £1,000 a week is a hell of a lot of money. You get 600 quid on football and 500 quid working. It's not a bad life, really.
And 90% of the team are probably doing the same thing as well. So you're feeling like
feel like you fit in.
Yeah.
A little bit. You know, honestly, my standards at the time was quite high, and you come to a bit of non-league and
it drops.
It drops because lads are turning up with dirty boots, lads are late. You know, lads are going out the night before games. And
see, I think I'd struggle with that.
I struggle with that.
With the what mentality?
Yeah, just standards. Yeah. Like I'd never ever be late in my life. Never have and never will be.
No,
late,
to be fair, I mean, obviously, I played a lot of non-league later on in my career. I don't think standards like that drop personally. I think it would be the case of how you treat your body and what you're eating and things like that. I think that would probably be the biggest thing because obviously some of them are doing jobs where you may be in the office and someone goes, "Go on, there's biscuit," or you're on the site and you're eating shit or whatever. But I don't think the general football standards of like being on time for games and stuff like I don't think that changes personally, but
I noticed that at Droylsden. I noticed the training sessions wasn't as intense.
Yeah.
You know, at Droylsden at the time, we used to train on a five-side pitch, and we used to just play goal and off, 3 teams, and that was our training session. Yeah. Dave Pace, the manager, used to join in, but it was awful. It was literally awful. But he lived. He was an owner manager, so he owned the football club, he managed the football club. He still does to this day, bless him. But he joined in. But it was awful. So it was like one of them. You won't pass it.
Killing the session.
Yeah, he just killed.
Session killer.
He just got, but it wasn't a session either. You know, so I used to get annoyed because obviously I was driving from Bradford. Yeah. And I was thinking, I don't drive all the way across here just to do an hour in a cage.
Yeah.
So it's not what I kind of.
It's not a proper training session.
It's not what I signed up for. Again, so we talk about standards. My standards were I get training early. I do a bit in the gym. The keepers always went down early. We'd do a couple of bodies. We'd do our little bit. We'd then do our training session. We'd join in with the lads. Then you get some lads who want to stay back and do a bit of shooting. So you'd stay back and do a bit of shooting. Then you go, get a shower, go home, have something to eat properly, and then do it all the next day. That was my life. It was very militant. And then going to Droylsden, it was just literally, right, not working at the time. What do I do all day? Yeah. What do you do all day? Play on your PlayStation. Yeah. Got nothing to do, you know, and that's what it was. And I think that's when my mental health really, like, it changed. It's like my mindset changed because I didn't have someone telling me what to do and where to be and what time to meet a bus. I found it difficult.
Did you, you didn't have an agent, but did you not have a figure that you could go and speak to or advise or anything? You didn't have a dad?
No, it was just me and my mum. She didn't
know, yeah.
But even saying that, unless your dad's played in the game, they're going to give you advice, aren't they? But it's not going to be relatable too much, is it? I mean...
No. I know, but a father figure, I think, helps.
Yeah.
You know, just to set the ground rules.
Yeah, my dad hasn't got a clue about football, but he's always the first person I'll speak to after the game, before the game. And he'd give, like, advice that a parent would give, which is obviously wanting the best for your son. So you saying before about not chasing the money, that's the advice you'd give. Like, I think my dad would obviously probably say the same to me, like, do not go and chase the money, believe that you'll get playing and all, and then the money will come later down the line. But obviously you didn't have that at the time.
Well, I didn't, and my mum, bless her, she wasn't in a financial position to support me. You know, it was a struggle. Yeah. Me being there, so I moved out. In fact, I moved out at 16 and I went to live in the digs because some lads who live far away, they get digs, don't they?
Yeah.
I went to live in the digs because I felt that guilty. I needed to take some pressure. some pressure off her. So I went and lived in the digs, and the club thought it was mad, but I put a twist on it. Like, look, I want to be dedicated. And
did you get your meals paid for and everything like that? Then was that your thought process? Was it maybe? Or
well, a little bit of that, and maybe I wanted that bit of camaraderie because it's tough going home, just me and my mum just sat there, and you start watching Coronation Street, and you're thinking, this is crap. So
you said your mental health started declining.
So it was obviously the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and I say this to everybody: the transition from being a full-time footballer, whatever level, to being, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way to anybody, because I am, but like being a mere mortal, I'll use that word, as a normal person, it's hard.
Yeah.
That was difficult. And so I touched on about going to work. So my girlfriend at the time, she worked in recruitment. And she was like, we're really desperate. Can you help me out? You aren't doing anything. You're just playing your PlayStation. Might get some extra money. And I need a lad in a soap factory. So what do you mean? So she went, I need you to go work in a soap factory. And it's called Drummond's. I remember it. So I went, all right. So she'd been let down. So I turned up this factory, and I thought, that's a couple of quid out doing anything. I'm playing on a PlayStation. I trained Tuesday night, Thursday night, on a Saturday. So I've got nothing to do. Could do with the extra money. So this was a real wake-up call, because this factory's in Bradford, and I get there, and guess what? They're all Bradford City fans. So I'm now working in a factory where I'm like I'm not saying a celebrity, but like everyone knew who I was.
But now you're working with them.
But now I'm working with them. But first I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be embarrassed, and I shouldn't be like that, but it was hard. So when I talk about my mental health, my brain couldn't comprehend what had gone on. 1 minute I'm playing professional football, and all these guys know exactly who I am. But now I'm working in a soap factory packing boxes.
You feel like you lost your identity because you was John the footballer.
Yeah, but maybe it's John or something. Maybe it was an ego.
Yeah, it
was an ego thing. It's not until you get older you can kind of process it and think that's where it was. But at that time, it's like my life was over. I was like, how have I gone from playing in the Premier League to packing a box in a soap factory? So I remember going home and saying, I can't believe you made me do this, and we had a bit of a tough time. But then I kind of got like a bit of extra money on the Friday, and that was weekly pay.
Yeah,
and then I was getting paid from football. I was like, this is actually not too bad. The season had finished. I then agreed to join Bradford Park Avenue. She worked in recruitment, and recruiters at the time, that was like a job where they were earning really good money. So she was kind of supporting me. She was earning top money. And I thought, I can do this. She's not that bright. I'm sure I can. All she does is just find people for jobs, or it must be easy. So I just applied for this job in Bradford as a trainee recruitment consultant. And I got an interview. I couldn't believe it. Because bear in mind,
no CV.
No CV. Yeah. I sent a CV, and it's like, what have you done? I went, well, I've played for Bradford City, played for Chester, played for Dresden, Goalkeeper.
I always remember making that transition, to be honest with you. Before I started doing my own businesses and things like that, I was looking for jobs, and CV similar, got fucking all this experience playing football, and you're looking going, I've got a BTEC in fucking sports science. Do you reckon they'll accept that? But obviously, shit, isn't it? It's just you're
literally starting at the bottom.
Yeah. But loads of the qualities that a footballer has, though.
Well, here's the thing.
It's good. And
so I did write a bit of an overview about being punctual, hard working,
determination.
Yeah, all these things that you find being in a team sport.
You kind of need
team player.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You kind of need the employer to be a football fan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? A football fan who's like, right, this would be good. We've got a young lad coming in who's obviously played football, and it's an interesting story, isn't it?
Funny you should say this, because he was. There's a guy called Stephen Street, and he owned a company called Relay Recruitment. And the first thing he did a press article, safe pair of hands. And I thought,
smashed it.
Quite smart, this
guy. Yeah, clever.
But this guy, he was brilliant, and he taught me everything. And they were brutal, because these guys were ex-Pertemps, which is quite a big recruitment company. And I remember the first week I was there, I walked in and there was no chairs. And I went, where's my chair gone? He went, you can sit down when you've made an appointment. I said, well, what do you mean made an appointment? He said, you have to phone around all these companies, get an appointment to see them and see if they need some staff. But it was a regular thing. You couldn't do that now. But I remember walking in and there was no chairs. So I got these yellow pages and I thought, I can do this. And started ringing. And I got an inquiry from called Aurora Marble. It was a company in Huddersfield. So, we actually need people. Can you come see me? I put the phone down, like buzzing, honestly, absolutely thinking, like, put my hand up, like, oh, can I have a chair? I've got an appointment. Sit down and all these people looking and going, you've been here 2 minutes. Like, 2 days I've been there. He's like, have you got an appointment to see this company? So I just pure luck, let me tell you. So I then went to see this woman, Cheryl. I'll never forget it. And to be honest, I just flirted with her. I swear. And she loved it. And she said, all right, you can have it. Can you find me some people to work in this stone factory? Came back, I had an order, literally. So how's it work now? I need 3 people starting Monday. So this Stephen Street, the owner, he's absolutely buzzing. So obviously he shows me, get it, build up a really good relationship with her. I do it again, I keep doing it constantly, and I think this is easy. This is brilliant. I'm earning good money now because obviously you're getting paid commission, you're getting paid bonuses, you get paid, if it's a perm fee, you're getting 10% of whatever the salary is. If it's a temp fee, you're getting a small fee of the hourly rate, plus your basic wage. Plus I'm playing football. So I'm thinking this is great stuff. He had an office down in Swindon, so he said, I need you to go work out the Swindon branch. And I've been there a couple of months now, absolutely smashing it, killing it. So I went down there, but I'm still at Bradford Park Avenue now. So left my girlfriend, who taught me about recruitment stuff. Gone to Swindon, down there by myself, but I'm still playing for Bradford Park Avenue. I'm driving up Tuesday night, Thursday night, and Saturdays. Swindon's miles away.
That, mate, yeah.
Swindon's miles away, and I'm putting some serious miles on this company car that I've been given. And then the chairman at Bradford Park Avenue was a guy called Bob Blackburn, and he's like, you need to stop this. So I was like their star player, I was doing really well, flying. He said, you need to stop it. I said, I can't, it's work, blah, blah, blah. He said, can't you find a job closer? I said, well, give me some money and I'll set up my own, and I'll do it in Bradford. I'll do it in wherever you want. And he went, okay. So I literally went and met him. He wrote me a check there and then for 20 grand.
Did you ask him for 20 grand specifically? Or?
No, he just gave me 20 grand. I didn't ask for anything. He just wrote a check for 20 grand.
You could get a few chairs with that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Get a few chairs with
and he said, and what he did a bit of property, and he had a paint and decorating business. He said, don't worry, I'll buy a building, you just pay me the rent from it, and I'll do it all up, and then you pay it back. He then phoned the bank manager up, HSBC, and he's like, and he's got loads of businesses. He's absolutely flying, this guy. He's got he had a Sunseeker yacht, 44-foot Sunseeker in Marbella. When we won the league, he took us all to Marbella. He had a big villa over there. He's caked. He rings the bank manager up and he's like, I need a 20 grand overdraft limit. And he's like, what for? He goes, I need you to set up this company. It's Kelvin Recruitment Limited, blah, blah, blah. Done. So I had a 20 grand check and I had 20 grand overdraft facility. So I'll go to IKEA, start buying all these desks, start buying all these chairs and stuff. I'm thinking, right, what we're going to do now? It's just me in an office. Oh, I need some staff. So get some staff, get some phone systems in. But started ringing all my old people, which a bit naughty of me, really. So this Cheryl, who I used to do business with, and
who you like flirting with?
Well, she likes flirting with me, and all this company get all the work. So all of a sudden,
did they then have like a non-compete or anything like that, or did they not see you as a threat?
Well, they kind of did, to be honest, but it's not really worth the paper it's written on because you can't stop anyone earning money.
Yeah, okay.
Really, and they approached me.
Either way,
yeah. So it did really well. It was absolutely flying. We then opened, so we had an office in Huddersfield, then opened an office in Bradford. Flying. Football teams, flying. Me and him were getting on like an house on fire. We supplying staff to like Mamas and Papas, in-store pound stretcher. Who else was there? There's loads of big blue chip companies. And one day I get a call from a company called Manpower, who are probably the biggest in the world. They're all over. They're massive. Are you looking to sell your company? I'm like, no. I'm such and such from Manpower. I'm the property director and client liaison. I'm like, right, okay. We don't want your business, but we want your clients. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, we want you've come in, you've disrupted the market that we're in, especially in Huddersfield and Bradford. So I remember having this conversation. I came off the phone thinking, oh, this is unbelievable. Bearing in mind, this is new money. This is like new. So I'm earning good money now. I've got a business going. I'm still playing football, but I don't know. Let's say I'm taking $2,000 a week home. I'm thinking this life is good. So I ring up Bob and I'm like, Bob, we've got an offer. Manpower. He's like, no. I'm like, no, it's a fortune. He's like, no. If we're getting this offer now, in 10 years' time, it'd be worth millions. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy is nuts.
No, but he can say that, can't he? Because he's obviously...
He's got money. He's got all the money that anyone could ever want. So obviously, I had this conversation with him. I'm a bit pissed off. So I'm thinking, this is what I built up for, And in fairness, he probably had a point, really. So I go back to work and we're cracking on. 6 months go by and then I get another phone call that the offer practically doubles.
The same people?
Same people, manpower, same people. So I ring him up again. I said, oh, this is doubled now. But this time I thought better of it because I thought, I really want this. I said, it's quieting down, so it might be a good opportunity. We're going to lose this and we're going to lose that client. And, I'm thinking, it's a bad time of year, so maybe we go now. And I knew the building that he had in Bradford, it was an old church on North Parade. It was worth a fortune. He just felt lucky on this building. I only had the ground floor, but I knew he wanted to put loads of apartments all the way up. And I said, it kind of makes sense because now you can put them apartments in that you wanted to. So I thought I'd kind of sell it to him. And I said, with the money that you get from this, it'll fund it all. And you'll make more money from flogging all these apartments on a building that you already own. And this will fund it. So I kind of sold him the dream.
How did you manage to sell to such a successful businessman like that? Obviously, he's negotiating all day, every day, isn't he?
So I give him an alternative.
Yeah.
So I knew he had something he wanted, which was that Bradford building, and he wanted apartments. You could put 20 apartments in there. So I'm working out in my head. Let's say these apartments were worth $300,000 a piece. So he's going to make good money out of this. So I kind of sweetened it up for him, and the fact that the offer that we've just got, which was, I think it wasn't a lot. I reckon it was about $700,000-800,000. That would fund it.
Yeah.
So he's got $400,000 that's going to fund the build effectively, and we'd butted heads a fair bit. So his relationship wasn't as strong. So
was you letting in some goals? Was you on the?
yeah. To be fair, it was awful because if I did play crap on a Saturday, I'd have him whinging on the phone all week, and then whatever I did was wrong. Then it was my fault.
Oh, well, as business partners, you was wrong. Yeah, and you just know, oh no, that's because he had a stinker on Saturday.
That's exactly. Honestly, it was awful, to be fair. So obviously we sold. So $400,000 to the better off now.
How old are you, John, at this point?
Oh God, I think I'm 25.
25. So you're 25. You were doing it for like a year and a bit. You were
2 years. I did 2 years. Yeah.
So you didn't know what you was going to do with your football. You was playing semi-pro.
Semi-pro.
You were struggling mentally. You was back in your mum's, not knowing what to do. You found a missus. She just asked you to go and do recruitment.
Yeah.
You just said yeah. You're working in the soap factory, not enjoying it. But 2 years later, you've sold the business for how much?
So, just over 800K.
800
but after legals and due diligence and stuff like that, I think I walked away with about 400,000
At
less
25.
less entrepreneurs tax and
And like you said, you've come from a family where you did
nothing,
loads of money. You had
so
nothing.
imagine I grew up in a 2 up, 2 down in Bradford.
Yeah.
400,000 sat in your bank account. I've never seen that kind of money in my life. So I'm thinking, I'm a player now. I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, well, I'm in with the big boys. I'm so far away from it. But your mindset kind of changes. And then I had a bit of time. I was going on holiday with the lads and stuff like that. Put a deposit down on a new house. I'm a single lad now. I'm just
new house to invest in, or a new house to upgrade what you're living in.
Just upgrade.
You still haven't got anyone to advise you what to do with this money at this time.
No, not at all. So a couple of friends of mine, that they own a company called Viva Moto, which they just used to sell motorbikes. And one night, he's my best mate, and we sat watching TV. I've just you're single lads, you go around Richard's house because you've got nothing to do on a night. And we're watching TV, and WeBuyAnyCar.com had just started. And this advert came on. I said, give me the laptop here. What you doing? I said, I'm going to type in WeBuyAnyBike.com and see if they've got the domain names available. So I went on Domain Monster. Oh, it's there, $3.99. I went, let's buy it. So I just bought it on an absolute whim.
Did you know? So you didn't know that you could make money from buying domain names? You just done that just because he was in.
I thought we'd buy a domain name and sell it to WeBuyAnyCar.com. In hindsight, thinking back now, I should have got WeBuyAnyVan.com. We will buy your bike. WeBuyAnyCouncilHouse.com. We buy. So many. Yeah. The possibilities were endless.
People make good money from just doing that, don't they? Exploiting those types of things.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue, man.
Yeah. So we knew obviously his cousin. They were partners already, and there's another guy, Andy, who was like, "Why don't we sit down? Why do we could do something with this? Why don't we do what they do with cars, but with bikes, and we can sell the bikes in your bike shop?" So we're like, yeah. So we had this brainstorming idea. It all sounded great. We're all high-fiving. We set to work. Got a guy who could build us this site. And somehow, when you sell a car or a bike, you use a Glassier's guide or a CapEx book, and it gives you kind of a rough price. Glassier's said, you can use our information if you want, which is a total no. If you have to do that now, they'll say no to you. So they said, you can build it, incorporate it into your website. So we were the only site that give you an instant value, actually give you an evaluation there and then when you pressed your button.
For bikes?
For motorbikes.
Yeah.
So we started off and we'd gone live and we'd bought a couple of Japanese, Chinese, really rubbish bikes. I'm like, this is not going to work. This is actual awful. Yeah. And we'd all put a little bit of money in. I think we'd all put in like 25 grand a piece. So there's 4 of us. We've got 100 grand to pay with. So far, we bought 3 Chinese bikes that no one wants, that 125s that falling over, done 50,000 miles. Something like this is what we've done, kind of thing. And the next thing, a couple of good bikes started coming through, and a couple of people started accepting it. So we bought. We ended up buying maybe 2 or 3 bikes a week, and then it grew to 2 or 3 bikes a day. Then it grew to 10 or 15 bikes a day, and it got to a point where we'd run out of money because we didn't have the money to buy the bikes. So we were kind of delaying. And then we met a guy, and so we didn't meet him actually. He phoned up to buy a bike off the website, and he's from Holland. And what we didn't realise is, in Europe, cars, it's a left-hand drive. It's right-hand drive over here, but bikes, there's no left-hand or right-hand drive. She said, you've got. I'm a bike dealer. You've got a bike up for £4,000. I'll give you $3,900 for it. The dealer giving you full retail. I'd have sold that to you for that kind of money. So I'm thinking, God. So I said, all right, yeah, no problem. And then he said, if you get any more, gives you a ring straight away. He said, obviously, our market, we can sell our bikes much more expensive. So I'll be able to sell this for £5 grand. So I'm thinking, oh my God, this is an opportunity here. So the website was getting busier and busier, and we were buying stuff all the time. We were going to the bank and getting 100 grand out in cash daily, and then giving it to the drivers because we paid everyone in cash because it was a bit more enticing rather than saying, we're going to bank transfer you. If you needed the money, you'd sell your bike, wouldn't you? You'd got a car and a bike. So we were buying all these bikes, but sending them all to Holland because they were paying full retail money. So we had an Arctic coming like once a week, and we were putting 40 bikes on this Arctic and sending it off, but he was paying the money up front. It was incredible. This business then became like footballer money. We were earning
like Premier League football money, not like League 2 football money.
No, this was like, so you're going back to 2012 here now. I reckon we were taking 15, 20 grand a week each. We didn't know what to do with it. I did not know what to do with it. It was crazy.
Thank fuck WeBuyAnyCar.com come on in the advert when you was in your mates.
Honestly, God knows what they're making. Yeah. It was crazy money. So we've been doing this about 3 years now, killing it. But loads of competitors have started opening up, very similar to what we are. Stupid, dropped a bollock really. WeBuyAnyBike.co.uk. Why didn't we buy that domain?
So you done .com.
Yeah, so we had .com, not .co.uk.
British company done .com.
Yeah.
No.
So
Do you know what though? It's obviously these are the things that you learn along
so
the way.
they were our main competitor.
What's the difference between com and co.uk?
It's different domain names. So you've got .com and you've got .co.uk.
So I'm guessing UK just means for the UK. So does com mean the world?
Yeah, well,
com's America, isn't it?
yeah, com's everything.
Oh, so that's better than you got that done, isn't it?
Well, you would have thought so, but what we should have done for another $3.99.
It's just buy both.
That's what people generally do when you're buying a domain name. You buy as many as you can that have got the same.
Yeah.
Just obviously the ending's different, isn't it?
Yeah. So they became our main competitor, but how their business model was they replicated that they were us, but there wasn't us. You know, and we were sponsoring Eurosport, we were sponsoring the MotoGP on Eurosport. We had adverts on Talk Sport, Rock Radio. Literally, we were spending money, but we'd worked out if we spend, I don't know, 50 grand a month on advertising, it generates 500 grand's worth of sales. So we could kind of do the maths on it. So it was great. And then up until year 2, we buying a car. So we'd registered the trademark of WeBuyingABike.com, and we buying a car. We got a few legal letters basically saying, look, it's a total rip-off of us. And we were like, well, we've got the domain name. So there's not a lot you can do. You should have, we've got a trademark. You should have trademarked it. And getting a bit heated and we're spending thousands. We buying bike.co.uk, we're doing really, really well. And I just openly in a conversation said, maybe we should flog it, lads, because the shelf life of this is coming to an end.
Yeah.
And there was like, no, definitely not. But if you want to sell your shares, then we'll buy them. Light bulb, come on. So not because I was greedy, because I was earning so much money at this time. I just thought, well, I'm pretty sweet now. So I went, oh, what kind of money were you thinking? And then obviously I got a year's salary paid weekly, but then they offered me a fortune.
Did your mates?
Yeah, for my shares. So they had them. So at the time, it was a no-brainer. So I accepted it, not knowing really. So I accepted this money, loving life, going out in London every Saturday night, that absolute champagne Charlie, going to a clothes shop, going to Selfridges and spending thousands on an outfit.
Yeah.
Stupid. Again, no role model really to tell me that I should be investing my money. I should have known better thinking back about it, but just loving life because it takes me back to being the footballer that I never was. Because when you're playing football, you want to earn as much money as possible.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I'm earning as much money as possible. In my head, I'm a footballer again.
This podcast is sponsored by Blythe House, financial advisors for high net worth individuals and business owners. If you're looking for advice in pensions, investments, mortgages, inheritance tax planning, life cover, business loans, and asset finance, then Blythe House has the expertise for you. Head over to the show notes on whatever platform you're listening to this on to find out more. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and follow the page. Thank you.
Do you feel like as well, because obviously footballers have got this reputation of when they earn this much money, they go out partying all the time. And
Exactly.
then you weren't allowed to do that as a footballer,
Correct.
but then you've smashed it in business.
Correct.
And then did you want to just be like, I've done this in business, like I can still keep up with dues?
Well, yeah, but it kind of made me feel like I was a footballer again.
Yeah.
So I'm still playing part-time football.
All the attention as well that you're getting.
But giving it big licks like I'm a professional footballer. So I'm going out and people are thinking I'm a Premier League player.
Yeah.
But I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm just semi-pro.
Well, on top of not being a Premier League player, you've also not got that salary. You've got the salary for a year, but you haven't got it as you had it going forward, didn't you?
So, but the craziest thing in all of this, after I'd sold, this was the saddest time in my life because, in football, it's a bubble. So you've got all your football friends. Didn't really have my football friends anymore. My friends that I'd been in business with, I'm not saying we fell out, so we didn't fall out, but you lose that bubble.
Yeah, because you've just went your separate way.
Come separate ways. I was going out constantly, but the people you meet, not really your friends. It's just that know that you're going to pay for everything all night, so they're actually hanging on to you for their life, and they need you more than you need them. But I was sad, and then that's when the kind of penny dropped. That I had the world in my hands, and this transition, and this is when I'm saying to you, is like the transition from being a footballer to a normal person was like, this was the hardest time in my life. But people would say, this is mad because
It's the most money you've ever had.
It's the most money you've ever had. But I felt like I'd not fulfilled my potential, or I've not done. The only good thing in this, it gave me an opportunity to go back into full-time football. Obviously, Alfreton, and then I moved back to Chester, who were full-time on this. Well, actually on a hybrid model. So it gave me the opportunity to get back involved in football, because really that's all I wanted to be involved in. It's all that any lad our age, we've played football, wants to do is just play football for as long as they can at the highest standard. But it was a really crazy one, because I remember going back to Chester on really crappy money full time, but I had plenty of money behind me, so it didn't really make any difference. But I still didn't feel like I fitted in. Do you know what I mean? And the lads would always give me a hard time, like, here's a millionaire, you'll get all the drinks in. So I was on different terms.
Yeah.
It wasn't like being at Sheffield United or Bradford City, or it was at Chester, where we're all back in the same boat again, that I've already been in that boat. So I had 2 good years at Chester, successful years. I think Player of the Year, and really kind of enjoyed it again, but still felt sad. Like literally thinking, what am I going to do with my life? Like my life's shit. Maybe I shouldn't be here. Them kind of thoughts. It was really really weird.
Did you miss having a business at this point?
Yeah, I missed everything.
Yeah.
I missed everything. I was probably looking for something that in my head probably didn't exist, or I didn't know what existed, or I thought existed. Again, it comes back to football. Coming out of football, it's like being told what to do. So I had no one telling me what to do. I had no one telling me what time to be there, what to wear. Am I wearing a tracksuit or am I wearing a suit? So them kind of things you get told. Oh, we've got a pre-match at 12 o'clock.
It's a structure.
Longing for it.
Yeah.
That, even when I'm talking about it now, I always think
You miss it?
I miss it. I miss that involvement, but I know it's not right for me now.
Yeah.
But I still miss it. It's like the girlfriend that you
can't have.
Can't have, kind of thing.
I would know what that is like. I'm happy.
So I just kind of...
You can't keep laughing at me like that.
Yeah.
You're making it awkward.
Trying to get brownie points on the podcast.
Elliot will be watching, babe.
Yeah. But in hindsight, in all things, something good came out of it, because then I met my wife. Yeah. So I'm now living in Hale, which is a nice area, just because it was a nice area, and it was easy to get to Chester. Obviously, if you know Hale and the area, it's quite a
lovely,
wealthy part of the world. So I kind of fitted in. Yeah. But everyone still knew me as a footballer. So I was like, I had a bit of a spring in my step. It sounds funny saying this really, because it sounds stupid, but
it's the reality of it, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't stupid to me.
Yeah, when you're mixing with all these people and Hale and all that, when they are wealthy and all that, and you're saying they're looking at you as John the footballer. Do you not think they're looking at you as John the footballer, but he's like a millionaire through business?
I don't know.
Or was you just loving the fact that you were still just the footballer?
Still, people still talking about me. Maybe again, go back to ego. Maybe that's what it was. But being there, I met my wife. Yeah. Who'd come from a well-to-do family. And then that's when I started really learning about myself. And I'm not saying my wife's a father figure, but she educated me in different ways. Like, what are you doing? Why do you have to go out on a typical wife, really? Yeah, she was a good woman. She was good for me. And so I'm still playing football at Chester. And then my wife, she's heavily in property. So her father's got a hell of a lot of properties. And she looks after all the properties. And she was like, well, what are you doing with your money you've got left? So, because by this time, I'm absolutely blowing money like you wouldn't believe. Living a lifestyle that I can't sustain. Like, genuinely, like, stupid, buying cars and just trainers and shoes and jewelry.
As you say, you've come from humble backgrounds, and you've obviously
new money. New money. That's exactly what it was. I say this all the time. New money. I didn't know what to do with it. It's not like I'd come from old money. So she's like, "Why don't you just buy a couple of buy-to-lets?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" So she educated me. Yeah. Right. I'll tell you what you're gonna do. Here's an area, Warrington. First house that I bought for it as an investment. It was £101,000, 25 grand deposit. Yeah. Set up a limited company. And we'll do it on a buy-to-let. All right, so how does that work? All right, well, you get 650 quid a month rent. After you've paid your mortgage and your tax, you're left with about 240, 250 quid. That's yours. So I'm thinking, all right, this is not bad. It's not a lot of money, but then you go, well, what if I had 10 of them?
Yeah, and as you say, at this point, cash flow isn't coming in really, is it? So
So all of a sudden, I worked my way up to 10 pretty quick, really. It was just, I couldn't find as many houses. I was wanting houses all the time. So it became like maybe I've got an addictive personality. It became like a hobby. So I got to 10 pretty quick. And then as soon as I got to 10, I thought, well, that's $2,500 a month. I don't even do anything. How can I get to 20? And so on and so on. So that's become something that I was kind of aiming for, to get as many as possible. Yeah. But before I got to where I am now, we started a company called Gymology. So I was still mega into health, and I was training again. I was still playing football full time. So you lads might know this. You know how it's kind of started on the team bus, going to a game, Tuesday night game. A baguette were coming out.
Yeah,
funny.
All these weird sandwiches, pastas from Morrison's, and I'm thinking, this is just full of sugar. This is awful, you know. And we was getting to places, and like lads were spiking, and then just literally having a big massive come down because they've just eaten spaghetti bolognese from Morrison's. Do you know what I mean? It couldn't be any
funny
bad.
You should say that. It's where I met you at Alpherton. I was on loan from Barnsley. First away trip. Get on the bus, and all of these are slabbing fucking baguettes with butter and ham and cheese, dry as anything. Yeah. And I said,
yeah, I remember.
What's that? That's the pre-match.
That's pre-match.
And that was usually what you was eating before the game?
Yeah. I'm quite particular in what I eat before the game. Well, I was quite particular in what I ate before the game. So that just didn't cut it, do you know what I mean? But it threw me off massively. I was like, that's before the game. Like, I was like a full-on white cob. Like a big...
Because remember, Alpherton, Chester, these part-time... Well, the full-time teams, but don't have the money. So they're not stopping at a hotel like we used to, and having a... And even then, when you're at the pro clubs, stopping getting chicken, beans and whatever you get, pasta. Yeah. Probably still not the best thing for you to have.
That's what I had last night. And that was unbelievable. I had a chicken, pasta and a mushroom sauce, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Kate, my wife, at the time, I said, look, I think there's a gap in the market here. But there's people already doing it, but they're using like frozen ingredients and stuff. I think, can we get the Marks and Spencer's version of this where it's all fresh ingredients? So it started off as kind of meal prep, but for me and the lads on away trips. So I used to say to the club, right, so it's going to cost me £3. I want £4.50 for doing it all. How many meals do you want? And we'll do it for the away trip.
So you was a proper businessman back then, right?
Well, I just saw a gap, right? So just saw a gap. And they went, yeah, okay, no problem. It probably works out cheaper than stopping at Morrison's and buying all this stuff anyway. So Gymology was born, and I really went to work on it, like, you know, the packaging, the containers, because I had money behind me now. So I was in a position where I could research it all properly.
I remember the branding; it was nice.
Yeah, it was slick. Mm. My wife Kate, she's a grafter, so she was hardworking, but it gave her something to do as well. So I'll never forget this. So her mum and dad owned this big furniture shop in Eccles. It's huge, but they had a cafe in there, and we used to use that kitchen because they used to open to the public, like you only got to the garden centre, a bit like that. So on a night, we used to go in and we hired a chef, and we used to cook from this manky, and I mean proper manky kitchen, all these meals. And then all of a sudden we got to like 100 meals a week. We were absolutely buzzing, but we're charging like £5.50 and it's costing us £2 a meal. You know? But then we're working all the time to try get the cost down, the margins up.
Sorry.
So it grew, and all of a sudden we're doing 1,000 meals a week. And then we was like, we can't be in this cafe any longer because I've got 3 or 4 chefs now. So I'm going in on a night, and then the cafe opens up in the morning, and we're just like, we're still there because we're getting that busy. So we bought an industrial unit in Earlham. It was 5,500 square feet. It was just an empty shell. I said, right, what we're going to do, we're going to have one massive kitchen in there with a huge fridge, and we designed it all mint. We then hired the ex-Man United chef Dickie, she was called, who used to work at Carrington doing all the meals in training. So she kind of knew it. By this point, we're doing, we're one of DPD's best customers. We're doing a lot of meals, but we're in football clubs now because I'm at York, so I've moved to York, so I'm still full-time at York. The lads think I'm absolutely bonkers because I'm doing a night shift and coming in and training the next day, but I'm helping the chefs in the kitchen to try to get this business going, like really involved in it. And they used to say, you're absolutely nuts. Why are you doing this? I went, no, trust me, lad, this is I'm onto something. And it grew and it grew. Then we had the likes of Tottenham, we had Man City, we had United, we had all these football teams having it for pre-match. But then the lads were ringing us and going, I remember Harry Maguire ringing me and saying, I
want this through the week.
I want this through the week. Can you prep it through the week for me? I'm like, absolutely. So they're all getting on to me. But then went on to Love Island stars. So we had anyone who came out of Love Island, we'll send you some free stuff. Just give us a couple of posts on social media. Yep. Where Rebecca Bardi, Spencer Matthews, we had everybody, literally everybody. Paddy McGuinness. So we had Paddy McGuinness, but at the time he was doing Marks and Spencer's adverts. And I remember getting a letter from a solicitor. Marks and Spencer's are taking legal action against Gemology. And we ended up ringing my lawyer. And I was, what's this about? Gets in contact. He's promoting you on social media. He's not allowed to be doing that. He's breached his contract. So, well, you need to take that up with him.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with me.
They're coming for me.
Yeah.
I scare tactics.
Yeah, the fuck.
So I'm thinking, God. But then at this point, I'm thinking, I've disrupted the market massively here. I am on to something big time. By then, I'm on 10,000 meals a week. I've got 14 staff. It's really, really growing. I start building some software because I'm thinking, right, this is actually a tech business, is this? How can I get into the tech market? And normally what they say is a tech valuation is 10 times revenue. So you turn £1 million over a year, it's £10 million valuation. So I'm thinking, right, how can I make it as techy?
Is that why you went over the tech route? Because you knew that the valuation and you had the idea that you wanted to sell?
Well, you look at any tech company, they actually lose money, but they're getting these mad valuations. How? Why? It's just a weird process. Uber, I know Uber's got used, but the valuation on Uber is absolutely through the roof. All these tech companies, Instagram.
Yeah.
What does Instagram sell?
Yeah.
Why did Facebook want it? Do you know what I mean? How does it make its money? Obviously through the ads now. So they've kind of taken it to the next level. So we're absolutely flying. And then I get a letter from, Galvin Green.
Yeah, the golf gear.
So so my logo was a little G, but I've trademarked it in the whole of the UK and Europe. And it's a little, my logo is a little G. And Galvin Green start trying to sue me. I'm going, I've got it trademarked, guys. So then another legal battle.
People want to fucking sue you,
don't they? Yeah, but remember, at this time, I'm thinking, this is great stuff because
shows.
It means you're doing
how have Galvin Green found me?
Yeah.
It
means you're doing well.
So I'm doing something right. So we're up to about 20,000 meals a week now. I've got HelloFresh ringing me, asking questions because they were at a similar kind of stage of our journey where we were. I've built my software now, so all the food suppliers, I'm plugged in to the food supplier. So when like chicken and salmon, it's a commodity. So when the prices of chicken fall, I was buying it all. So no one in Manchester could get it. So then restaurants have to buy it from me. So I've got hotels ringing me up saying, how many chicken breasts have you got? So I'm thinking, this is.
So you became a wholesaler as well.
So I was like a bit of a wholesaler because my tech was pretty good. So I had the Hook Group. They were doing all the due diligence. So the Hook Group on My Protein looked fantastic, huge, turnover billions. They were all over it and they wanted it. And when they wanted it, there's a company called KBK. It was like an investment company. They wanted it as well. Kate just got pregnant. In fact, she'd been pregnant a while, still working in the organisation. And because it's so difficult, hospitality, food is a nightmare because you get somebody and go, I don't want onions, but it's got onions in it.
Yeah.
So, well, you need to take them out. But we should have said, no, you have to sort that yourself. But we were trying to be accommodating. So it was difficult. Then DPD won't drop off your meals, but you paid for them. So then I'm constantly refunding people. It was an absolute carnage. It was a nightmare. And then the turning point was, it was in 1 April, it was bank holiday. DPD picked the whole lot up of food And on the way to the hub, so we take it to a hub in Birmingham and then dispute it. Bear in mind, we're sending it anywhere in the UK you can think of. So there's 20,000 meals on this truck, full Arctic load. Truck breaks down. Yeah. So we used to send it out on a Saturday. It used to get there on a Sunday. So they had the meals for like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The truck breaks down. We didn't know this. On Sunday, I'm getting millions of emails saying, food's not arrived, really disappointed, what's going on? So I'm contacted DPD, who, by the way, are useless. So I know they do a good job on that, but when you tried to contact
I know they do a good job, but they're useless.
No. If you ever lost a parcel and you try to ring DPD, good luck. It's just a robot talking to you, and you finally get through. Bearing in mind, we were one of their biggest customers at the time. Turns out the truck is set on fire, and they pull the truck away, but the trailer's fine. They deliver everyone's food on a Monday, which sounds all right, but bear in mind, it's fresh food in a nice box. It's stinking. So everyone's got the food, so I had to refund nearly 20,000 meals, right? And it's just become an absolute nightmare. So Kate's probably 8 months pregnant at the time. She's like, I've just had enough of this, John. Let's just sell it. And I'm like, no, let's not. But because she's my business partner as well as my wife, we're butting heads like you wouldn't believe. You know, we're laying in bed and all we're doing is talking about work, as relationships taking a nosedive. In fact, we're not even sleeping in the same bed sometimes because we hate each other, because she wants to do one thing and I want to do take it in a different direction. I want to start selling shares because people are wanting to invest. She wants to keep it all to herself. Yeah. So we speak to this KBK who come up with an offer, and it's life-changing, and we're like, let's just take it. Let's just get out of it, because I'm not joking. It's a hard graft. Yeah. It's not as simple as people think. It's proper hard work. So we took the money, and in fairness, it was the best thing we ever did, because it sorted his relationship out. But then we've got
loads of money.
Money behind you.
We've got money now.
How much we talking, John?
Can't say, but it was.
I was waiting for you to ask that. It's usually me being a cheeky one. I was waiting for you to start.
We had a non-disclosure, but it was a big chunk of change.
Yeah.
So it put us in an unbelievable.
So that's your second buyout of a business.
Second buyout
of a business, but obviously it's substantial.
Well, third actually, really, because
so you sold your shares, didn't you? Yeah. But actual business.
Yeah. Incidentally, by the way, WeBuyMe.com, it sold recently for 40 million quid.
What?
So gutted to the Superbike factory. So I really dropped a boo-boo on that one. So
your mates, you still mates?
Oh yeah. Well, funny
you made up for your mates still, aren't you?
Yeah. Do you know when it happened? I was first to run them up, and I said, "I'm absolutely chuffed for you, lads. Yeah. So I'm absolutely cloud nine for you." And they were great about it. So let's go out for some dinner and stuff like that. So we had a bit of a catch up. But I was buzzing. I was buzzing for them. In fairness, so Gemology sold. Obviously, I had my son Cassius, and we're living life. But that gives us the opportunity to buy a lot more properties now. So going back to my properties, when I said I got to 10, all of a sudden we're at 30. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We're still looking for more. Then we're at 40. And we're doing really, really, really well. And then I got a phone call. So I was in the Insider magazine. It's called the 42 under 42. So the top 42 entrepreneurs under the age of 42. They've seen this article in there, and so would you be interested in coming to talk to us? So where you based? Halifax, Elland. No. They still thought I lived in Bradford, but I'm not. I'm in Cheshire now. So I was like, I'd love to come out have a chat. What is it you do? So manufacturing. I've just done food manufacturing. Yeah. Joinery. I'm thinking, I don't know anything about joinery. So I get there, speak to them all. It turns out, long story short, is they'd gone from being turning over 7 million quid a year constantly to turning over 5 million quid a year, but losing £500,000 a year. They just want out, these guys. They just want to get rid of the liability. So I have a good chat with them, and I'm like, so this is 2020 now. So I'm like, okay, I'm interested, because I'm thinking in my head, well, I've got family up there. I can always go call in and see family, and I've got roots up there. I'm sure I can make it work. Me being me, go again, taking over. I'm sure I can make it work. So I go up there and agree like deferred payments, like I'm going to do this year, and then next year I'll buy a bit more and so on and so on. Bear in mind, this company's on its ass. Last 4 years, it's lost.
So what did you see in that company that made you think, I can turn this round, I can make sure that it's profitable again?
They were doing some mad things. So it's family owned, been going 32 years at the time, but they had all the family working there. and they were so set in their ways, it was untrue. So they had loads of customers, Vodafone, O2, Disney, big customers, but they'd only worked with them once and that was it. And that sent alarm bells ringing straight away. In my head, I was thinking,
No return custom.
well, number one thing is retention.
Yeah.
You know, you need to retain your customers. So you service the hell out of them, make them feel special. And yeah, you might not be the cheapest, but you give them a good product and the quality is amazing. They're not going anywhere else because you do it yourself. And if you get looked after, you go back, don't you?
Yeah.
So I went in there, and the quality was not as good as it should be. They had all the family working there, so the family member there's a production director and there's a business director and there's a managing director, and they're all just butting heads, and the systems that they've got in place they're not flexible at all. Where because the industry that they're in is residential, so it's bespoke joinery. Just so you all know, so the residential, like, we do a lot of work for like Berkeley Homes, who are probably the biggest house builder out there, massive in London. They want 500 wardrobes. So you do 500 of the same wardrobes, or they want 500 mirrored cabinets. Santander might want 200 cash desks. Yeah. So you do 200. So it's batch manufacturing. But there was no flexibility if anything ever changed, and we'd always go back to clients and just piss the client off, basically say, no, we can't move. We're so rigid in what we do. That's how it's done. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else. So they did. So I was like, guys, you can't do this. So I've been there 3 months. So it's 2020. I started in January. The first week in January, I started there. We're shut in March because COVID. So I'm thinking, oh my Lord, what have I just done? What have I just done? I'm just going to blow all this money. I'm going to tell Kate that we're going to be shut in a month or two because we just don't have the funds. We're getting zero money. Yeah. So I'm panicking at this point. So I start making people redundant, which is awful because they had like 60 odd staff working there. So I make 18 people redundant straight away. Luckily, I've got no emotional tie to them because I've not worked there. I'm fresh into it, so I can just hit it straight on. So I'm looking at it, right, you've been here 16 years, mate. You've been here 12 years. I'm thinking, this is awful.
Sad.
Yeah, it is awful. Yeah. But it was sink or swim time. Yeah. You know, how do I keep this business going for another month? Because that was my mindset, thinking we are sinking like big time. Bear in mind, it's 120,000 square foot factory that just to turn the lights on and pay all the staff £500,000 a month.
What, just to turn the lights off for them and pay the staff?
Well, turnkey figure, yeah, it's £500,000. Jesus. 480 to 500 grand a month just to keep that.
All those family members on the directors' roles are getting paid well.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, we're shut. Everyone's at home. No one wants to come in and work because everyone's scared to death. It's COVID. And then we got a phone call from a company. So bear in mind, I've been there 3 months saying, oh, we really need these boards producing. Can you produce them? So I tell you what, I'll come in. And I phoned up one of the directors, Phil, the design director. Phil, what are you doing? Bear in mind, he's on furlough and he's not getting his whole money, but he needs it. So he's like, not a lot. Why? I said, look, do you fancy 2 weeks worth of work, me and you? He said, but you've never run a machine in your life. I went, well, I worked in a soap factory. You know, so, yeah.
That soap factory set you up very well, mate. Thank God you went to that soap factory.
Yeah. So we started running off all these boards and got these boards out, but it kind of started the momentum of other things, and a couple more people started coming back to work. Then the construction industry said, we can't stop. We need to keep building. Can you carry on with us deliveries and a schedule? So we started producing it all, and slowly we got everyone back. But I really focused on quality. Like we call it reworks. So our reworks were things that have gone wrong. You have to rework it. Was £250,000 a year. And I went, guys, this needs to stop. You know, because it's just stuff we're making mistakes on because we're chipping it or being lazy or we're damaging it. Me passing it to you and you passing it to you. So we cut that down to about, I don't know, 30 grand a year. So that was a massive saving because that's on your bottom line. We've got rid of 18 people. We start retaining clients, but we'll start winning more clients. So all of a sudden, a £5 million business is now turned into £8 million a year, but our EBITDA is £1.2 million. So EBITDA is earnings after tax, effective. So after you've paid everything.
I'm nodding, but I don't have a fucking clue. Just nodding at you.
Well, you learn it. I learned all this. So for the last 2 years, we've earned over £1 million after tax, and we're absolutely flying now. So I'm still there now, still loving it, still growing the business. So my plan is probably to do another 5 years, and then maybe look for a management buyout. So we've got a good set of people in there, but I want to grow it to maybe 15 million quid a year, and then say to I don't know, a nucleus of people that work there, the bank will lend you the money because we're a good solid business. I want X amount of money. You know,
will you retain any shares at all this time?
Yeah. I'm gonna retain a small amount, but what obviously I'd really like to do is live the life and maybe half in Spain, half
on a yacht probably.
Yeah, on a golf course.
Yeah,
more likely.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the plan. But it's been a funny journey, really. From
it's been unbelievable. Like the story that you just told is amazing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, you've been lucky with the misses because they've set you up a bit as well, have they?
Well, sometimes, listen, obviously in this case it is your wife, but sometimes it's just that one person.
Yeah. Well, it is. It is. And in fairness, she's been like a guardian angel because I've run a lot of people ragged, female wise, and maybe that was from my football days, but she's been one where she's stuck by me and she understands business as well. So she's one that she puts her foot down, but she's got a good head on her. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I said, I would never invested in properties.
But you was never struggling to make money, obviously, outside of football. It was just keeping that money and making the right decisions, obviously investing in property, as you say, or...
I'll be honest, there was a time where I reckon I was touch and go of going to bankrupt. I'd spent all my money, invested nothing, but I was living a life and I had credit card bills. I'd run them up trying to maintain or keep face with my friends. And appearances and have the best gear and all that. And all I did, credit card, not pay it. I think at one point I could have been a month away from being bankrupt. I genuinely believe that.
And did you have no experience or like the mindset of like a businessman up until you went to work for that recruitment in a soap? Nothing at all?
None.
So to that day when you was working with obviously the Bradford City fans and all that, and you was like losing your head, but that soap factory day to go on to do what you've done now, like where was that mentality change or the mindset, or how did you even get the knowledge? Like
I'm going to go back to for football. You play football to win.
Yeah.
Really, it was that kind of attitude that I don't want to fail. I just want to win. And my dream was always to play football, but if I couldn't do that, I wanted to be financially secure
successful as well,
and successful. So again, I grew up in Bradford. I don't know if many of you been to Bradford. It's not the great.
I was there last night. I wouldn't rush back like.
Yeah, I didn't want to grow up in Bradford. I didn't want to be that person who grew up in a two up, two down. So I just kicked and screamed and I thought I'm going to learn this, and I just put a bit of time into it and a bit of elbow grease and just thought I can actually do it.
What would you say, John, to like lads who are playing football now, who are obviously you was a bit scared about the transition from retiring, about starting off like a business now or getting into property now? Would you advise them? What advice would you give?
No, I would. Speak to somebody. I remember trying to speak to the PFA, and the PFA didn't help me whatsoever. I just needed some help at one point because I was lost.
Yeah.
When I touched on mental health, I didn't have. I just wanted a course. I wanted a business course. I didn't want to be a PT. I didn't want to be something that they offer you because it's a saturated market. But I just think, if you believe it, you can make it happen. But you have to. A lot of people think they can start here. Sorry, I think they can start up here, but you can't. You have to start at the bottom. I started in a soap factory. That was probably the lowest point. It was minimum wage, packing boxes. I always remember Mum saying, "Oh, you'll end up packing shelves in a supermarket if you don't buckle down, John." And I thought, she's right. She was right. I was in a soap factory packing a box. I can't fail. So I think there's a bit of luck there, but I always think I had a little bit of something about me where I could interact with anybody, whether it was a cleaner or a CEO of a business.
Good people skills.
Yeah, I could talk to them and I could have a bit of a laugh. But one thing I would always say, I was always dead straight with people. I didn't really hold back. I just told them how it was. And the people who was already successful at the time, I think they respected that a lot. Because I didn't.
Maybe saw themselves.
I didn't. I didn't tell them what they wanted to hear. I just told them what my opinion was.
Yeah.
And obviously, people sometimes don't like, but the people who are well respected in business, I think they prefer that because they've seen the bullshit.
Yeah.
And they can see right past it, and they can see that I was genuine, and I wanted to succeed. And I think that when I got the opportunity from Bob Blackburn, I think he knew I was hungry.
Yeah.
And he was in a position where he could help. And in fairness, I made him a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
it was a good investment for him.
It was a good investment. So to people out there, you just got to do it, but it's not easy. It's hard. I see people all the time. I've got a friend at the moment, who, no disrespect against PTs, he is a PT. He can't buy a house because you can't get a deposit.
Yeah.
He's like, how do I do it? And I went, you just got to hustle. When you're not PT and you're doing something online at home, you need to have 2 things going, 3 things going, just have as much going as possible, because PT won't pay for a deposit, and it's getting harder and harder, and there's more people at it now because social media, everyone thinks they can be an influencer.
Yeah.
No, they can't, because there's hundreds of them out there.
Yeah.
But only the top 5% are probably getting decent money from doing it. You know, it's just hard, but you just need to speak to people, and somebody out there will take a chance.
So would you relate, obviously you've worked hard, but would you kind of put some of your success down to the people that have been around you eventually? Obviously your wife, Bob.
Yeah. No, 100%. But in fairness, you've got to make it happen.
Yeah.
As well, you know. Bob did help me. I learned a lot from him, what to do and what not to do. You know, it was a good, and that's something to take out of that as well. Because sometimes you see people and you think, what's this guy doing?
Yeah.
Take it on board, because don't do that.
Yeah.
Do what he's doing, because he looks like he's smashing it. You know, but again, a lot of it's smoke and mirrors. Don't always. I was the guy who looked like I was absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I was sinking underneath. I was like that swan. I was gliding, but I was pedaling like mad underneath. But it's just hard. And that the lads coming out of football, the sooner they get to grips with reality, which is the hardest thing you can ever do, then the better. There'd be a point where you come out of full-time football and you'd be like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Would you advise them then to start investing whilst they're playing?
100%. Just start investing. Just tie your money up. That's going to work for you.
Yeah.
So these properties that I have now, it's just money. So if I sell the house, I get all my money back.
Yeah. Do you do what BRR?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just working for me.
Buy, refurbish, refinance.
Yeah. So again, on a buy-to-let, it's 25% down. It's hard to get 25% in fairness, but I think I don't know the legislation, but I think you get 3 at 10% in your own name without being a limited company. You pay a bit more tax on that, but it can be done. But there's help out there, to be fair. But again, that was another thing. I had awful credit. I had really.
Because you was up to.
I was up to.
credit, yeah.
I had awful credit at one point. I couldn't get any more credit cards.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing, because I would have maxed them out as well and ended up in hot water. But first mortgages, interest rates were through the roof, and it took a long time. Like the journey to get to where I'm at now. It's been hard. Like it's been difficult, because again, I might have previously looked like I'm flying, but I haven't always been flying. You know, it has been a little bit.
Fucking flying now, mate.
Met my wife. Honestly, she sorted me out. You know, and a bit of luck. I got a bit lucky as well.
It's a great lesson learned. Like obviously, I've learned a lot as well. But like obviously, your dream was always to be the best footballer you could be. You've had to drop down. The football weren't working out great for you, but you managed to go into business with the recruitment, which was lucky with your ex-missus at the time, working in the soap factory, and then going to see the chairman at Bradford Park Avenue. Him giving you that money, but you making more money for him as well, and you've done well yourself to do that, and then go on to do what you've done now, and obviously become a millionaire, and it's a credit to yourself, so well done, and obviously thank you very much for coming on to
No, thanks for having me, lads. I've appreciated the time. Yeah, I've loved the time. Hopefully it can help or inspire, or
well, it will do. It will do, because obviously there's going to be so many footballers who are playing at the minute, or some who won't make it, where they think that their life could be over if they don't make it, or they drop down the leagues and the money's not as great as what they were on, and they're struggling mentally. But like obviously you've turned yours into a positive, and that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to spread messages.
There will be players out there that will say, "All right, what happened to me?" Let me tell you,
it happens.
It just comes, and you don't know it's happening. It just happens. You know, Andre, you've fallen out. Of the game. You just fall out of the game. It's not because you don't have the ability. Because there's lads playing in the football league, and I'm thinking, how is he playing? But there's lads I see in non-league, and I'm thinking, how are you not playing
Higher.
at a higher level? Do you know? But you've just been missed. You've just been missed.
Yeah. No, I can definitely relate to that in the fact that my time it came abruptly, and yeah, I didn't. Maybe I did start planning a little bit towards the end of my career for life after football, which I'm grateful for doing so. But yeah, moving out of full-time football into part-time football, that was definitely a shock to me. And yeah, obviously, as John said, we're just trying to spread that message and help as many people as possible, isn't it? So that people are prepared for life after, whether it be football, whether it be whatever sport they're in.
Yeah.
Obviously, sports is a short career, isn't it? So we're just trying to spread that message.
It will come to us all because it's just age. We can't sort
That's
of
going to
clock.
happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We retire some. Your knees go.
Yeah.
Your mind doesn't go.
I'm just going to go home tonight and just look at some domains. WeBuyAnyWalls.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything.
Thank you very much, John.
Cheers,
Appreciate
John.
your time.
Oh, cheers, lads. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.